In this video, we're going to discuss upgrading to PrimeNG version 20. There were some bugs, but they fixed them. And the bug I'm speaking of specifically is the $DT bug. About 3 weeks ago, it was reported and they fixed it. I had done a video on a workaround to get around that bug, but you no longer need to do that. So I will discuss that in this video here on how to do it correctly, and you don't have to do the workaround in this case because they fixed it. This is nice. So the Angular 20 and PrimeNG 20 is a major improvement to your project. PrimeNG did a lot of good things. They got rid of the class, styles class, and they're just using class now. So we're gonna see a lot of good stuff here. To begin with, we go to the Angular upgrade guide. And this guide will help you. So if you're on, let's say, Angular 17 and you need to go to 20, it's going to tell you here, make sure you do every step. I want to reiterate how important this is. In a past video of going to Angular 18 from 17, I explained that, how important it is. But this is something you need to do. So it's best to always go one version at a time. It's safest and cleanest. Personally, I like to use the medium complexity. If you're upgrading, if you have the history of AngularJS, which is the very first Angular that came out several years ago, it'd be like 8 years ago I think now, you want to check that. Possibly, you may not need to. If you're using Angular material in your project, you want to check that. If you're on Windows, it should automatically check this. Otherwise, if you're on Mac, Mac and Windows is pretty much the same. It's just there's some slight differences with Windows. So you don't have to click on this, but it doesn't hurt to click on it. Now in here are all the steps you're going to need to follow. So follow each of these steps carefully. You're going to copy this, you're going to paste this into the command line and execute it. And I believe, I always do a search on these, but they seem to already be taken care of. The script, I think, in here takes care of these. Just check all of these. And as you're going through it, just check these off to help you ensure that you have gone through each of the steps. Now let's go to the PrimeNG.org website and learn how to grade. So let's go to Get Started, and you always want to go to Installation. Now if you're using npm, yarn, or pnpm, these are the scripts that you run. The fix that I was recommending in a short video I did is no longer needed. The $DT bug has been fixed and it works just fine now, and I will discuss some of that in the video here. So you want to go through everything here. If you saw my video on how to set up the styles, this would be in the Angular 18 upgrade. Go to that video and you can see how to set up the styles. You want to verify. I didn't do this step here. It was unnecessary in my case. But if you need to, you can do this just to see if this button comes up on your screen and you're working. So the next thing you want to do is you want to go down to migration, updating to version 20. Now in 20, there are no major breaking changes. They're minor ones, and they're just things you're going to have to go through anytime you upgrade from a previous version to a newer version. You're going to have these. These are improvements. Many times it's a bug fix, but in this case here, I saw a lot of great improvements. One of them being you don't no longer use style class, you just use class, which is pretty much standard for everything else. For a while they had to use style class. I don't know the reason behind that, but that's what they had to do. One of the things you're going to change, if you did all the steps in this right here, you're going to install the new themes from PrimeUIX themes. So if you go down back here and it's talking about the themes, you want to make sure that you want to change this from styles under the hood. So styles and themes are the two things you're going to need to change. Now in here, is a list of the deprecations. This is the deprecations since 20, and then down here you'll see deprecated since. Well, now it's been removed. So these things like calendar, if you're still using calendar, make sure you switch over to date picker. These are pretty much straightforward change. There shouldn't be any major, I don't think there's any differences in the date picker than calendar. I think it's the same, it's just been renamed. Drop down is now select. Input switch is now toggle switch. Overlay panel is pop over. In my previous job, we, I think, had some of this. I know we had sidebar. Sidebar is now drawer, and you'll need to make that change. Clips, if you had clips, you'll need to change that. Tabs menu, this is now tabs without panels. And steps has been removed. Steps is now stepper without panel. Steps, I believe, was in the menu grouping under components. So that there's going to be quite a bit of changes there, and your styling is going to be affected quite a bit in that one. So pay close attention on steps. If you have steps and you had to change it to stepper, make sure that you adjust that. Now in my project, I'm still using steps, so it says it's removed, but I'm still using it. So that one kind of is interesting. So here's messages is now just message. Inline message is just message. So pay close attention to this. Most projects are going to be using message of some sort, and you'll need to make sure that you get that correct. Tab view has been changed to tabs. When you get down here, accordion. So accordion, pay close attention how you're handling the accordion. Looks like they've changed some things around here. So when you're in your components, let's look that up real quick. Accordion, it's going to be in a panel. Here it is. So in here, you're going to have to pay close attention to this to get it working correctly. That's one of the things I need to set up in my project just so that you can see how it's done. Let's go back down to migration here. Obsolete, not utilized. Date picker I know is utilized. Not sure. I think it's in date picker, month navigator, year navigator. These properties are no longer utilized. It's obsolete. Dialog, that's probably, those properties are obsolete. So it's not date picker and dialog that are obsolete, it's the properties. Pay close attention to that and go through this list. And in your project, in your IDE, it should show you errors if there are errors in there. Let me show you how the IDE will direct you to errors. So in WebStorm, I go down to problems down here, this little icon. Close this just so that you can see the whole thing from the get-go. Project errors. I inspect code, tell it to do an analysis of the whole project. It's going to open up a new tab here. First thing I'm going to look for is general errors and the annotator. So this is one that was deprecated, and I don't know if it was deprecated in Angular. I think it was in Angular it was deprecated. So this is one that you're going to have to figure out, and in the IDE here does a very nice job of helping you understand what to do. Okay, if we go down, this shows several different things, and they're saying at the bottom here that deprecated in 20.0 use the @for block instead. It's intended to be removed completely in version 22. All right, let's go ahead and fix this NG4. This has been deprecated in Angular 20. So what we're going to do is we're going to do an @for. I'm going to let it do that, but I also need to add the index. Let I equals index, and it's going to be $index. And then I want to come down here, my closing brace in there, indent all of that, and I want to get rid of this. Alright, so now, okay, I have my color group got lost. What happened? Let color group, instead of color, it's color group. Okay, there we go. Alright, so now that should take care of that. It looks like it has. So that's an example of how you would fix an NG4 and make it work. Now let's talk quickly about the $DT issue. In the documentation it says to use PrimeNG UIX/themes. It didn't work at first, and I did a short video on that on how to get around it, but now it is working. So the documentation is correct where it says to use PrimeUIX/themes. So go ahead and use that. It will pull everything out of your theme and get you the proper value. Now my code, the way I'm doing this, may not be the best way of doing it, because if there's an error here while it's calling it, it's always going to return undefined if value is not correctly populated. So in their code, in PrimeNG's code, if value is not able to get the value from your theme, it will return undefined, which is the right way of doing it. Now in this video, we've covered a lot of material as far as upgrading to Angular 20 and PrimeNG 20. I'm sure there's things I've missed, but you can always go to the repository where this project is stored, and it's out in GitHub. It's under PRB Programmer Roadblocks. In fact, you can follow me there. It would be really nice if everybody would start following the project. That way you can see when changes are done, even if I don't do a video. I'm enjoying this. This is something I enjoy doing, and I'm going to continue producing videos as long as I can. I hope this has helped.